everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Patricia. If you haven't been here before, I'm an artist and illustrator, and I usually do different types of videos, sometimes vlogs, sometimes painting time lapses, whatever I feel like it, because I'm getting back into YouTube and I sort of want to just enjoy it and not just create content for the sake of growing. So today we're doing something a little different. I've never done this before, but I thought it might be useful for those of you who might be going to conventions. So you will know it by the title, but basically I am gonna be packing for the Japan Weekend Convention today. I have things more or less organized and more or less ready to go, but all that's left for me to do is to pack, to put things in a suitcase. So I thought it would be sort of fun, and I haven't seen anyone doing exactly this before, to just bring you along while I pack and tell you what I'm taking with me. The Japan Weekend here in Madrid is one of the biggest events in Spain. The Japan Weekend in general, they do it in several different parts of the country, and the Madrid one and the Barcelona one are the biggest. I think especially the one in Madrid. So we're going to that. And as it is one of the biggest conventions, I thought that I could give you tips and tricks. I know things are a little bit different depending on the country you are and all, but I know some things are basically the same from convention to convention to put on stands, and tips and tricks I think are sort of general, because the first time I got accepted into this I actually read a lot of tips online and some of them were really useful, some of them were not. So this is why I sort of want to do this, because I know there's someone out there that this will be helpful to. You learn so many things along the way. I think this is the 5th time that I'm going to this convention. I've done artisan fairs in the meantime, but this is the biggest one that I go regularly to. So I think it's the one that I can give better advice at, because it's actually more relatable to bigger conventions that maybe happen in the States or in other countries. So let's go to the floor of my studio next to my big suitcase and let's start packing. Okay. Hello again from my studio's floor. So I'm here with two main suitcases. Usually I'm able to fit both of these. In artisan markets and stuff, you usually have to take a table. Here you have a table. My small suitcase over here is already filled, and I'm not gonna take it off for this, but I'm gonna tell you what it contains. So basically here is where I put my grid structure. You can see it here. And the rest of it is mainly tablecloths and other tablecloths that I have, because I like to, at the end of the day, to put tablecloths on top of my grid structure and then on some of the products, because there's security at night. There's been cases where people grab stuff, and sometimes at a couple of days you are actually getting out at the same time as the customers are, so it's kind of like unsure, and I'd rather just take off anything that can be grabbed from the table and put a couple of tablecloths on top. My thing here is that if you can be extra safe, it's just better. So this is basically what it is here. I also have a little structure that I made myself with a little help from my mom, in a little piece of cloth like this to hang out my tote bags, but I'm going to show you a pic of this. That's already pretty nicely fit. Now this suitcase is completely empty except for a couple of things. This right here is like a banner. I have a banner with my name, a little picture, something that's kind of nice, and I hang this from my tablecloth on the front of the table. So yeah, it comes out in this roll, and it's just easier to transport it this way so it doesn't get damaged. So I basically just put the roll first around here. Okay, let's keep going. So here I have what I call my toolbox. So this is a little box that I have, kind of practical, that you can close off and you can have on hand. And basically here I add anything that can be useful in a case of emergency or just in general. Ever since the first time, I don't know if I read it or if I just came up with this idea myself, I read a lot of people saying, oh, you should have some basics like scissors, like tape, which by the way, I don't know if I added here yet. Let me grab it. Like extra batteries, things like that. So anything you can think about that can be useful. I'm sorry the light keeps changing here. Now I'm going to show you a few of these things that I have here. By the way, I also put here, when I can, my lighting. So these events are kind of dark, and although there's actually artificial light, I like to put some things because they serve both as decoration and make the stand pretty. As I said, tape. I have these things that are kind of sticky and help me stick out things around. These are great because they're actually, even if you stick them on paper, they can be removable. Sort of like a sticky tag, white tack, blue tack, but I don't know if that's the name in English too. I just bought a new one. It actually lasts for ages. I had one that's blue that's like half the size of this, and it's like lasted me years. Then I have this, which is just basically all the sorts of things that you can use to hang out things from the grid. I have these types of clips in different sizes. I have these small ones, but they have proven quite unuseful. They're really cute, but they're quite unuseful. So this year I bought these ones a little bigger. Hopefully they will work better and they are cuter, because I actually like that look better than the black clip look, but you know, these are just much more secure. So I take them in any case, and they came in this box, so I kind of reuse it because it fits in my box and it's perfect. Some other things, I take a stick of glue. You never know. Some more clips. These ones are great for hanging my tote bags and things, so I bought a couple of these. I have a couple of strings and you know, I can't remember the name. Well, you know, first time I went, I thought about taking this and I hang things in a wall that I had. So it was actually useful, and you never know. So, and this, I need it in one, so I actually took it, left it there. Then I always have a bunch of pens, a Sharpie, a normal pen. This is a white pen because a lot of times I like to write in my business card my table number. That's been a pro tip that I kind of like, because people actually sometimes ask, oh, I would like to come back, and I would say, oh, just grab a business card, it has the table number, and that's kind of perfect. And mine are black, so that's why I have a white Posca here. Then just a bunch of extra pens and extra batteries, basically. I have here my rechargeable batteries and just extra batteries in case. And other than that, here's the rest of my blue tack. And just, oh, some normal clips, because I do have like a board that's there that I use for my keychains and things, so I can hang it up there. Oh, my scissors. I think I took off the scissors because they're not here anymore. Oh yeah, and you know, scissors and things like that. So I will keep this mostly untouched during the year, but I do need things from time to time. So I basically just keep my toolbox around my studio, and it's been proven useful before. Now let me save that, put that into the bag, and get back to you. So another pro tip that I had that I realized actually a little later in the game that I think is kind of obvious, but just in case you never thought of it, as I didn't the first few times around, is to separate the things that you're gonna need first. So this is why I have my tablecloths and my grid structure and all in different suitcase, because when I arrive, I can just take that suitcase and my toolbox and start putting the things together. And just in any other case, it's also easy that you don't have your tablecloths in the bottom of the suitcase, so you have to throw everything out before you put things together, because the tablecloth goes first. So I don't know, I think it's kind of obvious, but at the same time I never thought about it before because I only had one suitcase and the tablecloths fit better in the bottom, so I did like that, and I just thought I'll mention it. You never know, like, to be honest, in these events you have so many things to do. I actually did a big to-do list the first time I went. Now it's kind of easier, but you have so many things to do. It's really easy for you to skip on things that seem really basic, you know? Now, another thing that I have right here, and I thought I'll mention it because I'm just gonna charge it now. This is to take payments with card. This has actually been super practical to me. It's really tiny. I keep it in the box because it's supposed to be delicate, and I highly recommend it. To be honest, it's been like a lifesaver in these events because it saves you a few sales around the day. Okay, moving along to print organization. So I actually have 3 print sizes. One of them is an A4, which is our normal sizing here in Europe, but if you're not from Europe, I'm just gonna show you. So an A4 is this size, more or less. Well, that's a little smaller, but you know, most of the prints in here are around an A4 size. Then I have an A5, which is half of the A4, and an A6, which is half of the A5, but it's sort of like a postcard size. So these are the other 2 sizes. So this is actually quite practical because a lot of the folder thingies come in these sizes, which is great. At first, I only had an A4 file, and that was a little bit annoying because, you know, smaller prints like this made a lot of bulk and ended up falling. But over the years, I started buying a few more things for organization. You know, you don't have to have so many things at the start. A lot of these things have been bought, like the next time I bought one more thing and the next time I bought another and things like that. So not everything at once. So I'm gonna show you all that I have right now. First of all, I have two portfolio folders. One of them is this one and one of them is this one. I decided to have an A5 portfolio too because this way I can show up the different sizes. Because there are prints that I only have in this size, and there are prints that I have in all the sizes, and there are prints that I only have in these smaller sizes. So what I decided to do is to put this, I always have this open in my table. A lot of people really like to flip through things when they have a table, so I usually open this in different pages. Sometimes if I see that there's a particular interest for a print, I will have like that open, so hey look, this is the new print, or this is being a really popular print, something like that. So this is my portfolio, and at the beginning I have a few originals too, just so people can, you know, see some more of my art. And then I have the print portfolio, which is here separated. You can see that mark there, and then here it just says prints, so you can know that that's the print category. Now this one is directly just for prints. I don't have any originals here, and basically I just have the portfolio for the A5 prints, and then I made up this little structure. I have a lot. I'm trying to actually sell out of a few to just shorten up my portfolio of prints. But then basically I did this so you can see also the A6 prints really nicely all together. And this way you can know, you know, because I have offers like if you pick two A5s then it's cheaper, if you pick two A6 then it's cheaper. So I mean, let's say they say they like the Nezuko one, so I just say, hey, if you take two it's a little cheaper, so if you like some, just start from the beginning and see if there's anything that you like. And that's what they do. So these are portfolios and I take them with me, but these are mostly for show. Then of course if I run out of my backup prints I will get them here. For the backup I changed things up a little bit this year. So first I have this folder with all the things. It barely closes, it's really full, even though I only have a few prints of each, but still. So I've organized this with little tabs so I can find my prints. This is new because I actually had another folder of this style for my prints, but it was just a lot more bulkier. So this year I have it like this. But these are only the ones that either are A4 only or A4 and other sizes. Because as I told you, there are prints that are only on the other sizes. So this is why I have these extra ones. Because prints like this, I only have in some of these are only in these sizes. So this is why I have them here. These two are actually behind with me, but they're sort of organized. So if I keep them in like a shelf or like behind the table, I know that the A5 and A6 prints are here, the A4 are there. You know, it's just makes it a lot easier to just flip through a few things than to search crazily, because there have been times where I've just basically put every print in a plastic little bag and have them there in my suitcase spread out, and it was madness, absolute madness. But you know, when you don't have the money to buy all of these you know, things, you make do with what you have. And I know these things are cheap, but the first time you go to a convention or the first few times, there's actually a lot of money that needs to be invested. So it's totally understandable if you don't have things that so prepared, you know? I'm just showing you, giving you ideas so you can take down notes for the future or whatever. Now, another thing that I put with these is two things. One, I like to write out my stock. It helps me keep track, and I remember a lot of people didn't do something like this. They just sort of keep notes or something. I honestly keep an Excel document in my Google Drive, keep track of the stock, and then I print it out so I actually try to reuse any misprint pages or something that I have, and I put it on like this. And this is not only a stock, but I also write down whatever I sell. So I keep track of whatever sells best. I keep track of my own stock, because if I sold 3 and I have 4, then I know that I only have 1 left. And it sometimes makes it easier for me to find things. For example, a lot of times I know that if I only have 1, it's probably either on my displays and or hanged around in my display, you know. So these I find really important. I never go to a convention without one. Even in a small artisan market, it just makes it so much easier. And again, when I come back home and I'm a little calmer, it's much easier to evaluate what's sold best. Because of course you can tell what's sold best in a convention, but then sometimes when you review the stock, you realize, oh, this also sold well and I didn't notice it because it wasn't so overwhelming as maybe other pieces, you know. It's really useful. And then another thing is price tags. I print price tags, a little bit personalized. It's not overly complicated, it's pretty simple. And then I have this little thing. It's like a cheat sheet for me. I have this hanged in the back, and it's not only useful for me, but my boyfriend also helps me with these events. And sometimes you might remember the price that you put to things, but sometimes you just draw a blank when you've been like so many hours there in an event. You just draw a blank. And of course, if you have someone else helping you, they don't have to learn your prices. You just have it hang there in the back where you can easily see it. I hang it in the back of the structure, so I can only see it in the back. And it's just super useful. And then of course the price tags. People will end up asking prices anyway, but I think that if you have them hanged, it's just a little bit clearer. Okay, and now into some of my display hacks that actually have been super life-changing when putting together my display, because the first few times it took hours to set everything up. Of course, with practice you get a better hang of it, but there's also a few things that have definitely sped up my progress when doing the display. So I'm gonna show you. When I bought my grid structure, it came with these things. So basically these grid structures are supposed to be, you know, just shelves for you to organize things, and this is just to put on top of it so you can put things and they don't fall through the holes. I know not all of these shelves have this, and this is why I'm going to give you an alternative in just a few minutes. But basically what I did is grab this. I still have a few left, as you can see, and I might use them, but other times I just use them, as I said, for what it's actually supposed to, which is put on top of the grid so you can put things on top of them. I use those for my own display. I just realized that if I had things pre-hanged, it was much easier for me to organize. So for example, here's how I display my bookmarks. I just hung them in the shelf. They fit perfectly because this is actually the size of the shelf, of course, because it's made for it. And I just display them like this. If I can, I can put them in a corner, sort of like this. If I can put them like that, or one on top of the other. Like, you arrive, you do this, you put like something to secure it a little bit, and there you have it. All your bookmarks are set up in a second. This is the first one I did, and it was so much nicer, and it actually looks quite nice, that I decided to do the same with the prints. Now, as I said, all my prints are in the display there, but it's also nice to have them out on display. And I think there's a few missing here, but basically there are most of them here, and I just put this on top of each other, and one of my walls is just this, so they can see all of my prints in one go. I had to do a new one for my stickers because I had run out of space. What I did, instead of using this, is the alternative that I'm telling you about. So this here is a foam board. I don't know how it's exactly called in English. I think it's sort of something of the sort of foam board, but it's just basically a white thing. Sometimes it's sold in black as well, or in other colors, and it's just like, you know, foam in the middle, but sort of like plasticky on top. And this is just basically make some sort of a cork board. You could pin things on it if you wanted to, but I don't want to damage it. I either paste a sort of colored paper on it. You can put like just a normal color paper or cardboard thingy on top, print something yourself and stick it on it. Or in this case, what I've done is just use my own sticker paper. I have a sticker paper that's pretty thin. It's not the best sticker paper out there, so I thought I will use it for this. And I just printed like the background. It already has the price of the stickers. It has, you know, a few things here and there, so it makes it a little bit prettier. And I just stick on the stickers on there. They're actually removable because they're only stick with the painting tape that I use also for masking my paintings. And yeah, as you can see, it looks much better. Although it's kind of cluttered, it's much less cluttered than if I put all of these stickers in the table, which is what I did at the beginning when I had much less stickers than this. And yeah, this is how it looks. I think it looks really, really nice. I actually share the process of making this in my TikTok, so from time to time I share processes like this in there. And I think I will share it in a short as well. But you know, ideas like this, you can do so much with this. And you can either prop it against the grid, or you can put it on like one of these mini easels that are quite cheap in any store that you can find them, and you can just prop it there, because a good thing about this material is that it's really, really light. So if you put it on top of this, it's not heavy at all. It will not make it fall even if the easel is really bad. Another few things that have been quite useful for me to display. I'm still figuring out the best way to display certain things, but you know, one of them has been these IKEA rack. It's just a normal rack for you to dry your plates. I have seen some that are actually like inclined, and I think that will be much, much better. I usually use it for my handmade notebooks, but it's quite easy because you can just prop it like that and it makes for a nice display. The only bad thing that I see here is that you don't really see the ones in the back. That's why I would like something to be like sort of inclined with the, of course with this inclined as well, or they will fall. I usually use it for my notebooks on this size. So you just sort of prop them there, and it's sort of like a tight size because they kind of fall. It's not exactly an exact science, but it is a nice display. I think I've seen people use it vertically too, to hang things and such, perhaps. It was quite cheap. I don't remember the price, but it was quite cheap and, you know, easy to find, because that's also a problem. Sometimes you have quite a hard time to find things to display in a convention or something, because I don't know about you guys, but I think that in the States it's much easier to find things like this than here in Spain. Like here in Spain you don't really find things appropriate for displaying anything. Another few things that have been quite useful for me, easels. Small easels are quite useful. I have a cork board that I got a couple of years ago for my keychains, and it goes in here. I prop up the keychains and it's quite easy to see too for the people. You know, they can just see it very well when it's propped up. Because one of the biggest tips that I've found for conventions is don't lay everything on the table. Make people like look up, put things vertically, because it gives you much more space and it makes it actually prettier. Sometimes it's easier for you to prop things on the table that are nice and interactive, perhaps like stickers, or as I said, something like a portfolio, something that people can look at. I usually put up my book too, so people can swipe through it, see some of my work. You know, they don't usually buy it, but sometimes someone buys it and it's like, wow, someone bought my book. And if you're a little bit more well-known than me, then perhaps people will buy your book, but you know. So yeah, you just decide yourself, but it's really nice for you to have vertical space that you can, you know, so you can use the space at its most. And now let's move on to for displaying on the table, because basically with the grid thing, with a few of these, and with the things that I've showed you, you basically have enough to display vertically. Let's talk about how I display on the table. So first of all, I have these boxes here. I don't know, I think I grabbed another one, but I can't find it now. They're quite cheap. I bought them in a pack and they came like 2 or 3, I think, or 2 each. And basically the good thing about them, they usually come in these pastel colors, which might or might not suit your table, but still they're practical, even if not for the front of your table, maybe for your storing purposes in the back of the table, which is also a big thing. And they can be bended like this, and they don't occupy anything. They also are kind of stackable, one on top of the other. So for your actually organization purposes at home, they're quite useful. So you just basically bend them like this and, you know, stack them, and that's quite useful. So I always take the 4 of them that I have with me, because if not for the front, it's useful for the back. And things like perhaps my notebooks or something I can put there. For example, this time I'm thinking of having these like sale. I'm just getting rid of these prints. I'm never selling them again. So basically I have this here. I'm gonna put like a big thing in here, and people can just swipe through them, you know, just see what they like. It needs just a practical, easy way for me to do that. You have fancier versions of that, and those are like boxes sort of like this. These are much more expensive. I mean, of course you might want to invest on something prettier, but I found that these are a little bit more expensive, and the fact that they don't bend makes them a little less transportable. And then also sometimes you don't find the colors that fit your table or your display, and that makes it harder. But I found that I don't find these as practical as I found the other boxes after using them a few times. But of course, this is all up to you. We all have different ways of organizing ourselves, and that's the beauty of it. Alright, moving on to more organization on the table, I'm gonna show you what I have. For this, I actually have to dismantle things that I have at home, and that I find a little bit, but you know, it's actually practical and I don't have that many events right now. If I do, then I might have to think about other ways, but right now, let's make do. I have all of these boxes. I think they're supposed for jewelry. And for example, these with the third division are perfect for stickers. Here's where I displayed my stickers, and now where I display my premium stickers. I have some other stickers that are like with effects and things, and those I have on display. The other ones I have there where I showed you. And boxes like theirs are just like super useful because you can prop them up like that in the box. You know, some of them are taller, some of them aren't, but still is a nice size for you to have like a few stickers propped up like this, and people are like seeing them from the top, so basically you're seeing this and they look nice there. This is a nice size too because most times I can store the stickers like this when I have to, you know, save everything up, so I can just put them here, put one on top of the other. These aren't as stackable. I have another ones that are more stackable, but these are really nice for display purposes. I find this my favorite, and I actually have gone back and bought a few more. I think right now I don't know if I have 3 or 4, but you know, at the first time I just bought like 1 or 2, and then I ended up going for a couple more. Another thing that I found after was in Amazon. By the way, I'm gonna link things down in Amazon if you're interested. I think a lot of these things I found in Amazon, some others I found in local stores like bazaars and things like that where they sell cheap stuff. I'm gonna link what I can in Amazon because that's like the most worldwide thing for you to find things out. So these boxes are from Amazon, and they're basically the same style. They're just stackable, and they came in a lot of different sizes. And they have proven quite useful because, for example, you have this square size that is kind of nice for certain things and even for display purposes because they're not as tall as the other ones. So sometimes you can have things that aren't as tall, like just propped up like this, and they're visible. Then as you can see, this is the same width, so I have one that is like bigger, sort of like a tray. I have this long one that is sort of perfect for me to store the bookmarks. I even display them here at first, but I find them better now for the back. But another thing that I do here at home is just put separators and just put the stickers like one after the other too, like this, and they're kind of useful for that, you know? Then it came with these individual sizes, which is again nice for anything that occupies some sort of disk space. You can just have it in display like this, and again for saving, because as I said, they're stackable, so you can just, for when you're saving them in your suitcase, they just stack on top of each other. The whole set stacks on top of each other, and it leaves a little space here, so sometimes I utilize that space to put things so they're like safe on the bottom, like in between plastics, and they don't move as much. I usually take some of these. Right now I have quite a few, so I don't take them all. Later on I also bought these sets. Again, they're stackable too, but the sizes are a little different. They're useful too. The squares too, and this size, just different styles. These are, I think, supposed to be for either makeup or jewelry for your own organization, or just for organization inside your drawers. So you probably are able to find these things around. Now, for a cheaper version of that, what I also do is saving the boxes of phones. I know it sounds weird, but saving boxes that are sort of like this, and most of them come in like either black or white, which is a very neutral color. They are also pretty useful for, you know, just displaying things. Sometimes these ones I don't use for display, I use for the back, or either I use for staying at home here. But it's still a good way to organize yourself in a cheaper version, because I don't know about you guys, but at some point I found out that in my house there was like 4 boxes like this, because, you know, one from every member of the family that just stays there in case something breaks or something. And for example, I have this, I think they were from sunglasses, and it's still like quite useful, you know, it's still a useful size for us. For like, for example, bookmarks, like to put vertically, they fit perfectly. So here are my bookmarks organized. I put like this so it doesn't fall, but basically these are my bookmarks in a phone box. And they just fit perfectly. So this is going in the bag for my own storage, for me to just have the bookmarks organized on that hand. All my bookmarks fit here, and I have quite a few. So as you can see, you know, I use a lot of those. There's boxes like this from basically everything. These are from earphones actually, you know, just anything. Oh, and now that I'm here, for example, this is how I display my pins. Again, same trick with the foam board. They're sticking there. I put them in like a plastic bag so they don't fall. But then I remove them when they're there. Because the plastic bag is mainly here because I ended up losing pins around. And yeah, this is another way. I propped it up in an easel and just super easy to put there, as you can see. Oh gosh, I'm so dumb. I just recorded a big chunk of video without you being there. So nice. My cat was there, she distracted me, and now I forgot to turn on the video. But basically, I was giving you some last tips. And these are not really mandatory things, they're more like my idea of what I like to bring on to these events. But I thought I'll share them with you because, you know, you might like the idea, you might not. It's okay. By the way, this is basically it. The things that I take. Of course, you can take on more decorations, depends on the event that you're going for, because some events don't let you take certain things, so be sure that you read about that before taking or buying things to decorate your table. I'm just gonna give you an example so you can be more clear. For example, here in the Japan weekend, they don't let you take things that can be mistaken as merchandise that you can sell. So I had a couple of things that I took as decoration, and I don't know, maybe it will be fine, but I'd rather not take them. Or some people have things like games, like these little machines that I think they're Japanese inspired, that is like basically you put a coin and they give you some sort of gift. Those are forbidden too. So it's really important that you're aware of what's forbidden, what is allowed. But other than things like that, you can usually take as much decoration as you need to decorate your stand. So that's completely up to you and your aesthetic. I know it's kind of hard to figure out the first few times around, but I'm sure you will eventually. I don't think I have a particular aesthetic. I just go with the flow and I just try to keep things nice and ordered. Some of my optional things that I like to take is gel, you know. Ever since COVID, this was mandatory the first time that I went, but then I thought, hey, I'm managing money here, I can't go to the bathroom to wash my hands regularly, so this is really nice for you to keep your hands clean, you know, you're touching so much stuff. Why not keep our hands clean if we can? Most of us have a lot of those left over from, you know, those dark periods of our lives. Then another thing that I know is not everyone's cup of tea, but I like it, is business cards. I think I've mentioned them before. These are my business cards. I haven't shown them before, but if you bought from my store, you probably got one. And this design has been like this for quite a long time. I like to have them. I know a lot of people don't because of the waste, especially in these big events. A lot of people grab a bunch of business cards and you know that maybe they're gonna end up in the trash. But I find it really useful for two things. One, I put the number of my stand in the back of my card, and then I can tell, like, if someone is looking through things and is sort of not convinced, I can just tell them, hey, there's the number, you can take the card, and if you enjoy something, you can come back later. And they're usually like really grateful, like, oh, that's great, that's such a great idea, so I can find you later. Because other times they will take a photo with their phone and all, but I think that it's kind of nice that they have a business card so they can, you know, relate that, oh yeah, that was the work that I liked, this is the stand that I liked. Then the second thing is that these events are so big that not only people get lost and they can't find you later, as I said before, but also sometimes they buy things from different stands and they don't know what it is from where. I ask them if they want a little business card with their order, and that has resulted in some people being able to share later in their social media the stuff that they bought with me, and to be able to locate it too, because I've heard artists asking, oh, you know who this is from? And they don't know because they haven't grabbed a card or something, and sometimes certain things don't have a signature or something legible that you can identify with a username. So it's really useful for that, and you usually gain a few followers after it, which is, for me, it's kind of nice because, you know, you keep growing that community that comes to visit you in events. And another thing that I know is not super environmentally friendly, but right now for us that don't have much money when starting these things, sometimes is our main option. It's plastic bags. So I offer like little plastic bags to people, these sort of ones. I have them in different sizes, mostly according to my product. And basically here I put either prints, stickers and things like that after a sale. I try to buy it up in one bag altogether, or sometimes just offer them if they don't want it. If they're carrying another bag, then that's okay, of course. I would really like to have like those sort of paper recyclable bags, but I haven't found them near my location that are cheap. So like sometimes I've seen them that they can come from another country or something, but usually you need to order like a huge amount. And you know, where my business is at right now, that's not on the picture. Like it's not, we're not able to. These plastic bags are much cheaper, much easier to find in different sizes. It's such a shame, but it is what it is. I will hope to change that eventually, but I do find it something sort of needed in these events, because a lot of people are carrying things like sometimes in their hands or like in their pockets and things like that, and when you offer them a bag, they're like super grateful because they take out like a bunch of stickers that you know are starting to get bended. So for a bag, if people don't want them, if people have another bag, then that's great, but some of them are really super grateful when I do. And I understand it, because I mean, I'm selling something, I don't want it to arrive damaged at their home, you know. And also at the beginning I used to pre-pack my prints. This is why some of them are still pre-packed. Now I try not to do that because I find it like a little bit wasteful. I just thought that they look prettier and nicer and they won't get ruined in the way. But the thing is, it feels like such a waste. So right now what I do is I just pack one or two. Like if I print a batch of 5 prints, let's say, I packed one for display purposes, because if I am gonna display it, I like it to have the bag so it doesn't, you know, get ruined, get dirty, and sometimes with the clip thingies it just gets marked. So the plastic adds a little extra layer of security for me. The rest I just have in the folder that I showed you with no bags, and when people come and buy them, then I just put all the things that they buy together in one bag, so it's not as wasteful. So I mean, I'm just giving you ideas because sometimes you might see people that have everything pre-packed, and that's what I saw and thought, oh, that's so pretty, that's so professional. But then I feel like it's such a waste. So I'm telling you that. So you know you have different alternatives to do the way to do things, of course. And I think that's it. I think I'm not forgetting anything. I have to pack everything, and I might include that as a time lapse, but you know, that was just sort of an excuse, as I am having to grab everything to put in the suitcase. It was a perfect timing to tell you about what things I take with me and give you those tips. I hope it was useful. I hope you found some tips in here that you weren't aware of or that helped you somehow. If you have any tips, leave them down below. And also be aware that these things change regularly. Like, I'm sure that if I record a video like this in a couple of years, things will be really different. Things how I organize things, of what I take. Some things will stay the same probably, like my toolbox has been coming with me since the beginning. But some things will probably adapt, you know? And that's okay, because that's what happens. You adapt to make things better and easier for you. Quickly before we go, I wanted to show you how our stationery shop looked in the Japan weekend. It was really, really overwhelming how much love we received. It was the first time that we went to an event with our shop because it's really new. We started it in August. I've been talking about this in previous videos, but just in case you didn't know. And it was my friend who ran this part of the business with her shop and her earrings on the side. So I just quickly want to show you the video. We received a lot of love, so that's really nice. I will leave links down below if you want to check it out. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this was helpful, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!